Hello everybody and welcome to the finale of the Rodea the Sky Soldier playthrough. It's time for chapter 24, Garuda, the Machine Emperor.
Ion Seaver will be out of range. Are you doing all right, Rodea?
Yeah.
If anything happens, I'll fix you right up, okay?
Don't rush it though.
Oh, come on.
Make sure you follow your gut instinct, okay?
You betcha. You can count on me.
I'm gonna be going now.
Rodea?
I'll be back. I promise.
Okay. Just promise me one more thing. Promise me you'll win, so we can go back to Garuda together.
You got it. It's a promise.
Surely you know, Naga has become a barren wasteland. Garuda, however, possesses everything I desire. Fertile, untarnished land, a brilliant blue sky. Seizing Garuda is the only option. With this body, I shall rule Garuda in 1,000 years.
And ruin it like you ruined Naga?
Naga no longer matters. Garuda will be mine!
Won't let that happen!
Oh, it's so anime it hurts. Also, I've just noticed we've gotten over 60 lives. Good grief. Now, the fight with Garuda is rather tough, and I do mean that. I would recommend turning off the lock-on camera, because it's gonna potentially screw you over. And I do mean that seriously. Because in situations like this, you have got to get out of the way. And if the camera keeps kind of focusing in on Garuda, then, seriously, it's very difficult to dodge. Now, you can cause quite a lot of damage on Garuda in a single hit, but once he finishes that Gatling gun attack, he's going to start regenerating health. So you have got to be so careful. There is a rather big difficulty spike here, because Garuda is difficult, and I am serious in that. But thankfully, once you have the general gist of how he works, you should be able to defeat him relatively okay. The general principle is keep flying around the room until there is the opening. Because once there is the opening, then you need to charge. And you need to keep charging until you defeat him. It's the same as every boss fight ever, but it's kind of odd in that the best way of beating him is to constantly fly around the room until that opening becomes available. Because otherwise, you're going to get caught by his attacks. The one flaw with this plan is that sometimes you are not necessarily going to notice where Garuda is when he's doing all of his attacks. But it's certainly safer for you, so I would always say go for that. He does have I hate bosses that recharge their health. It's frustrating, to say the least. But thankfully, only Garuda does this in this game, and really, although it does artificially prolong the fight, it does make you have to play more offensively once you get the opportunity. Also, I really wish I wasn't getting hit by that attack as much as I was, but it so easily catches you off guard that you're just like, ah! Also, for crying out loud, Garuda, will you just stop for a minute, please? but we should only need to get one more hit off on him. So, come on, Rodea! The end is in sight! But if you thought that the end of this game was going to be as simple as just beating Giardo, you are so very wrong.
Sacrificed my own daughter to fulfill my
And at this point you finally find out that Cecilia was the daughter of Giardo. So, Giardo used to be human once, and then he turned himself into a machine, essentially.
What a doddering old fool. I predicted you would be defeated. What are you scheming? I'm 100% certain you'll refuse, but I shall extend the offer anyway. Join me, and we'll make Garuda the seat of a new machine empire. No way! Typical. I made a promise to protect Garuda. Then there's only one prediction I can make. A final battle. Just you and me!
So here we go, it's time for us to defeat Valgus. And, oh boy is it toughie. I mean, when he does laser attacks like that, it's just like, oh my good grief. Thankfully, he only takes 3 hits, so he's not too horrendous. But when he does this tornado move, oh, it's frustrating. I always struggle to properly dodge it. I mean, that one I think I got rather screwed over because, you know, getting stuck in his way and then you're kind of trying to frantically waggle to get out, and it just doesn't always work well. And Valgus, he does indeed talk too much, and, you know, he uses that tornado attack too much. It's only like the 2nd time, I know, but it's just like, Valgus, just stop, just let me kill you. Thank you, that does quite nicely. Also, I love how we defeated him just as the lasers came down, so we've got a wonderful backdrop there. But there we go, Giardo and Valgus are defeated.
Sounds like you're starting to understand me. Of course, I thought about losing to you. Us failing to claim Garuda. But the more I observed you, the more fascinating Garuda became. We were bound to an order for 1,000 years. Our mission was to bring our Emperor 1,000 years forward in time to now. But you freed us from our servitude. Now that you've kept your promise, what do you want to do next? Truly, I want to go back to Garuda and Rodea. We are robots. Not you.
So, that's the end of chapter 24. And it's time to head in to the final level of the game. Chapter 25. And oh boy. Here we go, chapter 25, the end of a promise. And what the hell has happened here?
You're Giardo?
Ah! He's looking at me!
Hey, she's not your...
And so begins our final boss in what is going to be your greatest challenge in the game in the Wii version. And the reason I say that is because this thing is just so cruel. Because it's a very long boss battle in comparison to all of the other fights in this game. And in the Wii version, there are no checkpoints. Yay! It screwed me over so much.
Not Cecilia.
So very much. If there's one thing that Kadokawa did do for the 3DS/Wii U version, is that they introduced checkpoints to this boss fight. Because it's the main thing that I would say is just cruel in Rodea the Sky Soldier. Because while the bit there with destroying the tentacles is alright, the second you get sucked up into these vents, it becomes a whole different story, because you've got to destroy all of these weak spots before you can escape, but you're gradually being dragged down. If you touch the bottom, you're going to get injured. If you touch the walls, you are going to get injured. And it's very difficult sometimes to spot where all of the weak spots are. And seeing as you've got to do this 3 times, it's just so easy to get screwed over. It's unbelievable.
He's taking aim.
And it frustrates me to no end, because otherwise it's a rather cool epic boss fight, even if it does pretty much come out of nowhere. And I really do mean that. This is just like completely random, and there's no real, I suppose, effective transition between the end of the last chapter and the start of this one. I don't know whether they just didn't have budget to make a cutscene to make this transformation happen, or whether they just thought they didn't need it. I'm honestly not sure. But it's a bit of a messy way of entering into a final boss, I have to say. But it's still a good final challenge for your skills, because you've had the one-on-one combat with Gyardo and Valgus, so you've had kind of your final challenges with that, and now you get your final Colossus fight. And it is easily the hardest, so it's quite fitting. The only thing that I find with it is that it is rather slow, because you are constantly trying to grapple on to these moving tentacles, which are constantly moving, and so that means that your target point will slowly move away from where you're wanting to be, so you're constantly having to fix it. And that just can get a little bit tedious after a while. And then these vent bits are just awful. I hate them. They're easily the worst bit of the fight, because it is so difficult to maneuver the camera around in such a small enclosed space. I mean, frequently what I ended up having to do was try and just work my way down to the bottom, get hit by the kind of whirring fan, so that then I could right the camera and zoom out to where the final weak spot was, which is just not the safest way of getting through a fight. Also, whenever he does that wave attack, get out the way. Just get out the way. It's pretty much the same with every fight you've ever done. 'Cause I mean, like, obviously second phase he does that with the towers, so you can't really go to land on any of them. Which can be frustrating, because that means that you do have to start relying almost entirely on the rolling tentacles, but still. And something that I haven't quite brought up yet, obviously Gyardo has mistaken Ion for Cecilia, because obviously they do look rather similar. But I think what the game is hinting at is that Ion is Cecilia reincarnated. Which is why obviously Rodea and Ion have become such close friends. Maybe not developed in the best possible way, but done reasonably well, I would say. And obviously because they look almost identical, and because Ion has an affinity with robots, and it just kind of works to suggest that Ion is a reincarnation. I mean, they share the same voice actress, obviously. And you've had numerous cutscenes towards the latter half of the game where even Rodea has started to confuse the two. And yeah. So, this is our final tentacle. Then all we need to do is deal with our final vent. And then it's time for the last hit. I will point out I did die numerous times on this fight, but I'm quite glad that I managed to hide it reasonably well thanks to a small little cutscene. Wonderfully thankful for that thing. But yeah, this particular vent is just horrendous. I mean, look, I was not intending to fly into that thing. And I only have 2 weak spots left. It's just like, do not screw me over, please. This is not fun. I do not want to be having to struggle through this. Please. For the love of God. But there we go. The final hit is done. And, well, the final hit for that event is done. And the final actual hit for the game is not too horrendous to achieve. Because we've got that one massive hit me laser, or hit me light, in the middle, and that's where we need to go. And we need to just charge towards it using the flying boulders which are coming out of nowhere, I suppose. Now the trick to this is that there are 4 lasers in the corners. You can see which one is charging up. And all you need to do is just make sure that you are nowhere near where that particular laser is firing. I didn't realise this the first time I played this fight, and so I died rather horrendously during this particular section. And then obviously had to redo the entire thing all over again, and that made me so angry. But once you've got the gist of what's going on, you really shouldn't have any problems getting to the final hit. And there we go! Garuda is defeated once and for all. And Rodea the Sky Soldier is beaten. Hell yeah!
Ion, let's go.
Okay.
That's how it's done.
Thank you, Rodea.
Don't sweat it.
No, I mean, thank you for everything.
No, thank you.
Huh?
You're the one who found me. My heart, my emotions, I have them now because I met you.
That makes me happy, Rodea.
Alright, let's go back to Garuda.
Okay. Finally, we're going back.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna believe that we just came back from 1,000 years ago.
Ah, time travel. Always fun to try and explain, isn't it?
Huh?
I have to close the R gate. Only I can operate the gate. It's best if he and I stay here. You have to go back to the future alone.
No! I don't want to go without you!
Come on. I'm just a robot, you know.
I don't care! It doesn't matter! I want to go back with you, Rodea!
Stop it already. Just go back to the future. Garuda's waiting for you.
I can't control the ion wave! Rodea, stop! Please, I don't want this to
Bye,
survive!
Ion!
This isn't fair, Rodea! I still need to thank you properly! And say more to you! And do more with you!
I'll never forget you. I promise.
I can't hear anything!
From the bottom of my heart. I can't see Garuda from here. But that's okay.
Oh my!
And there we go. The game is over. We get sort of this
I thought you were
particular
gonna sleep forever!
cutscene in the credits, but and rather frustratingly, all of the characters, voice actors, are the Japanese ones because they didn't want to credit the UK, well, not the UK, the English voice actors. Why? Just why?
Matter, Ion? Garuda is surrounded by the Chronos Towers on this most happy of days.
And here we get the credits, which they piss me off so much because in the original Wii version you had another cutscene after that, which you're actually going to see at the end of these credits. So they put a mid-credit stinger into an end-credit stinger, and then it moved into a really, really wonderful credit sequence with a song which I believe is called Rodea, which was sung by Dino, and it was composed by Takayuki Nakamura. And it's a wonderful song, and it's kind of the main theme of Rodea. And that played during the Japanese credits for the Wii version, but obviously because it was in Japanese, and I'm assuming that the video that they showed that they had was just a video, so they couldn't actually go in and edit anything, NIS decided that it was smarter to replace it with their own credits, and then pulled this awful thing to Probe. All Rodea Wii version staff of Probe. F you. F you to hell. Like, how dare they not credit the people that worked on this game? I mean, they didn't even credit the voice actors, for God's sake. And then they chose this awful, screechy piece of music and didn't even line up the credits properly and just... ah. One final rant there for Rodea. I do love this game a lot. It's fun. The actual game is it's great. But there are problems with it, and there are major problems with the way in which it was published and localized, and that just drives me up the wall.
My voice?
And here's the stinger I was talking about.
Of course.
Aw, what a lovely bookend.
I can't believe you found me again.
Of course I did. I trusted my gut instinct. Well, actually, I trusted our bond.
And there we go. Rodea the Sky Soldier is beaten. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you will join me for the extras and in the next playthrough. See you soon.